We were getting very close to something as we had started on September 8th, by the way, our Becoming Brigitte season 2. And we were looking at how unusual it was that a dog was barking a bit too loud, a thief that nobody was pursuing was running. And that was us discussing the MK Ultra program and Brigitte Macron, strangely, and Emmanuel mentioning MK Ultra in the lawsuit to us 18 times struck us as odd as we were trying to determine whether or not it could have been Brigitte Macron that was involved in that Stanford experiment, this prisoner, 2093, that was being protected. We didn't know why this prisoner was being protected. We sent somebody there.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Warriors, we have an update on what's going on with Candace Owens. This is wild. That's what I'll be talking about today on Chat with Me, Linda B. All right, Warriors, you know what to do. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and make sure you select the all notification bell. Stick around to the end. You are not going to want to miss this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so Candace Owens, she has been saying recently over the past few days that she is like the center or the target of an assassination attempt on her life. This is like crazy sounding. And I want to show you guys a clip from one of her shows. What could have caused, I wonder if this is the reason why she is being allegedly targeted. I'm not saying she's being targeted. I'm not saying what she's saying is true. Some people believe she's a grifter, that she's seeking attention. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's what a lot of people look like they're doing. And again, I'm not accusing her of anything. I don't know Candace Owens personally, but it looks like when people mess up in the public sphere, that they then come up with something, to kind of detract people to forget about that screw up over there. You know what I mean? Like what Democrat, demon rat, ghetto ratchet, crash out Crockett, Jasmine Crockett did when she called out the wrong Jeffrey. And then she comes up and and seemingly, in my opinion, invents a race target, like someone was coming after her, even though she has a lot of security. And she said this person was yelling out racist things and just, I don't believe her. I just believe this is a distraction. Sometimes things are distractions. They are not what they appear to be. And it is hard unless you are like really, really close to what's really going on. You don't really know what's going on. All we know is what they tell us. And so I come from the perspective of I am not signing on to any of this. Anytime I put something out on a video, I'm going to say allegedly, and I'm going to say allegedly to everything in this video, but I'm going to tell you and show you a clip from one of Candace's shows. And you have to wonder, could this have been something that could have caused her to become a target?
We were getting very close to something as we had started on September 8th, by the way, our Becoming Brigitte season 2. And we were looking at how unusual it was that a dog was barking a bit too loud, a thief that nobody was pursuing was running. And that was us discussing the MK Ultra program and Brigitte Macron, strangely, and Emmanuel mentioning MK Ultra in the lawsuit to us 18 times struck us as odd as we were trying to determine whether or not it could have been Brigitte Macron that was involved in that Stanford experiment, this prisoner, 2093, that was being protected. We didn't know why this prisoner was being protected. We sent somebody there. There seemed to be more. And what really terrifies me is that if my inclination that Xavier Poussard's messages have been being read and tracked for longer than I even realized, and that's the reason they initially sent that cease and desist in December, was to ward me off sitting down with Xavier Poussard, then what we hadn't yet presented to the audience, but what we were investigating on the back end, if they were aware of that, it really makes me wonder if we were on the right track. And it was something that was so sinister, involving maybe another step of the MK Ultra program being used to foster serial killers and to give serial killers new identities and allowing them to run in countries. That was kind of conversations that I was having in the background with Xavier. And we thought that we had perhaps identified Brigitte Macron at Stanford University, a possibility is what I would say. We were maybe at a 50-50%. And then suddenly Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, and it totally throws us off of the scent entirely because we're trying to figure out what happened to Charlie. And now, strangely, trying to figure out what happened to Charlie has brought us back to a France question, right? Why on earth did France move? I mean, who wants to lease a hangar in Wilmington, Delaware for 2 years to paint planes? Ostensibly, we're supposed to believe that this was a maintenance stop, but as the tip proved to us yesterday, that wasn't the case. That was a front, because that had not been operative from 2021 all the way forward to the end of 2024. So literally, that plane was still making stops in Wilmington, Delaware, and there was no lease to that. And these were federally controlled waterways where that hangar is situated. And we learned that this is a building where there's cooperation between the feds, Homeland Security, and also contractors, independent contractors, which means people that are not a part of our government's apparatus. So the question becomes, who was the foreign dignitary that was escorted on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination to 920 King Street? Is it plausible that for whatever reason, Charlie allowing Tucker Carlson to hit the stage and to say that made Charlie a bigger problem than us? I have to tell you guys, in my gut of guts, there is something unbelievably, I just look at Brigitte Macron and I am telling you, you are looking at an utter psychopath in my view. There is something dark. There is something deep there. I see it in the eyes, in the performance of this all, that the response in France has been to start to harass people who came out and tried to tell the story, to effectively ruin their lives, to go after their finances, to debank them. The strange circumstances of some people who have tried to touch this story, and we've covered this also in our series, that wound up dead. Something is not right. And what terrifies me the most, by the way, is how far, the length that they are going through to protect Brigitte. Who the hell is Brigitte Macron?
That is deep. And I wonder if that was something that put her in danger. Did that put right there, that information that I just showed you, did that put Candace Owens in danger? Because this is like, we're talking about all the things that I don't even want to say, the ultra whole thing with the ultra. I don't even want to say it. Okay. I don't even want to I don't say certain words and terms. I give you an alternative way of saying it, so you know what I'm talking about. But ultra, I'll just say that program, there allegedly is something going on with that. Okay. I have not dug deep like Candace and her research team has, and I do not intend to, for obvious reasons. I like living. Okay. So I am not going to be digging deep, and I am coming from the perspective of these are just claims that Candace is making. But I do know that if you research history, if you do a little research, like there's always some kind of relative, like people are like related somehow, like Obama and Bush allegedly are related to each other, and there's always like something weird going on with someone's background and how they were raised, and it affects how they think so that they're able to do certain things. But Candace has given updates, okay, and her Instagram story section is filled with wild claims. I mean, she is saying things about President Trump. I mean, she is. And she's saying, why are they calling me to stop the investigation of Brigitte Macron? What is going on here? She said there's these French Legionnaires, which consists of, it's a military unit consisting of various countries. And I just literally found this out. And that this was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And why is it that certain people, and this is according to Candace, saying that President Trump called her and told her to stop this investigation. Now, Trump has always been, in my mind, a controversial figure, President Trump. But I have never, in my mind, the way I see him, he's telling the truth because he doesn't want certain things to like explode. You know what I mean? And not that he's involved in anything nefarious, but he knows how these people operate. And it could have been for Candace's safety that he want if the call even happened. I'm just telling you what she said. It could have been for her safety. And is it true that people who looked into these certain things, they're coming after those people, like trying to debank them, trying to get rid of them and have eliminated some of them? Is this true? But I am going to give you a little bit of what Candace has put out on Twitter and just a little bit from her Instagram stories. Now, all of these things, they're just too crazy for me. They're just too deep. I saw some of it. I've read some of it. And I was like, oh, I am not talking about that on my channel. I refuse. I am just giving a little snippet here and there. So let's take a look. All right, so this is coming from Candace Owens here. Our show will be off air this week. As an update, both the White House and our counterterrorism agencies have confirmed receipt of what I reported publicly. Emmanuel Macron attempted to organize my assassination per a source close to the first couple. Also, I will again state that the French legionnaires were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination, which is what I just stated a moment ago, but they did not act alone. For all of you who doubted my claims, you can now look to the President of the United States and our intelligence communities to issue a statement to confirm whether I am telling the truth. Is Candace Owens telling the truth? Is her life actually in danger? Here are some people commenting on Candace, coming by way of Panina Bloom. Looked up her, nothing very detailed about who this Panina Bloom is. This is just someone responding to Candace. Candace, receipt simply means someone opened an email or logged an online report. It does not confirm your claim, your source, or your interpretation. That is not how intelligence verification works, and you know it. If the President of the United States or any counterterrorism agency believed France had attempted to assassinate an American citizen, the response would not be silence from Washington and an Instagram story from you. It would be a diplomatic crisis, emergency briefings, and an immediate press conference from the State Department. And for the record, not a single reputable source, journalist, agency, or government has corroborated any, not even one detail of the story you're repeating, not one. You can ask the government to confirm it, but you know they will not because there is nothing to confirm. Repeating it does not make it real, and silence does not make it true. I'm not giving you guys everything, okay? You can go to Candace Owens on Instagram, go up in the stories section and read it. And again, she's repeating right here, because I am certain that the French legionnaires, a military unit made up of multiple nations, were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. I feel that it is urgent that I share the following information with the public. Okay, and then it just goes on. We'll start with a question. What is it about Brigitte Macron that required Charlie Kirk, followed by Sergio Gore, and then President Donald Trump, to personally call me and ask me not to further investigate her? At the time, it seemed absurd, funny almost. Sergio Gore was pretty fired up about it, but why? Why is the story of a man cross-dressed as the first lady in France apparently the biggest state secret of all? As most of you are aware, we had been investigating the plausibility that while living as a man, Brigitte was involved in the thing. Experimentation here in the United States during his missing years in the military. We were further confused by Brigitte's family origin story. I can go and further look into it because I don't like getting too deep in all of those things like that because they seem to be just too dark. I'll go back and read it my own, and you guys can look into it as well. But do you think that what Candace Owens was saying in that first clip that I showed you, do you believe that is what put her life allegedly in danger? What do you guys think? please comment below. Don't forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Select all notifications. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.